The Laugh and Rum podcast is brought to you by Ken's mom. Ken's mom is the #1 fan of this show and my new friend on Facebook. Soon to be my lover. All right, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. The Laugh and Rum podcast is also brought to you by George Washington's wig. George Washington's wig, oh sure, when he wears it, he's presidential, but when I put it on, I'm an insurrectionist or whatever. And lastly, the Laugh and Rum podcast is brought to you by 2-ply toilet paper. If you're an American hotel, you use 1-ply. If you're international, you use 2-ply. And if you're me, you use my neighbor's towels. This is the Laugh and Run podcast.
It's the Laugh and Run podcast with Ken Holmes and Tommy McClellan Willard.
All right, so Ken, you were telling me something about you think Jeffrey Dahmer's misunderstood? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
I didn't say Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, it was Ted Bundy. I'm sorry.
Ted Bundy.
My bad. You're right.
He was very misunderstood.
All right.
He was a very charismatic gentleman, you know.
He actually was misunderstood, but in a horrible way.
In a very bad way.
Very bad way.
People should have stayed away from him.
It is weird. I don't know why you have pictures of him hung in your home, but that's, you know what? Maybe it's a Victoria call. Victoria, your wife is back there.
She loves serial killers. I don't know about that, but, you know, whatever.
Oh, God. So you would have been killed by him for sure. I don't know if that got picked up, but his wife off camera goes, he's cute. It's like, all right, let's defend Ted Bundy.
If he drove an ice cream truck.
Yeah. Honestly, that's how he would have gotten me for sure. Ice cream, I'd be like, look, I got to take this chance.
Wait for me.
Oh, boy.
So we were talking earlier, and we were talking about this episode and what the discussion was gonna be like, and
sure.
And there's something that you have coming up that you are very quiet about.
Yeah.
That you never really, like, you mention it in passing with people, kind of like nonchalant, like, but like, I want you to elaborate on this. So you're going to the
Jeffrey Dahmer convention.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sorry.
going to the Jeffrey Dahmer convention.
I gotta get off this. This isn't a good thing to stay on. I'm sorry. Keep going.
You're going to the World Championships.
Yes.
Representing America, Team USA.
Yeah.
For the Winter Triathlons.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm wearing my ski boots.
So first and foremost,
Bad shoes.
Can you tell us what on earth is a winter triathlon?
Yeah. Before this episode, you told me I have to brag. I don't like talking about myself in a glamorous, boisterous way, so I'm gonna do my best. But so winter triathlon, it's a sport. It's really popular in other countries, especially European countries. The World Championship has been going on since 1998. I think Russia, according to the chart I found on Wikipedia, Russia's
very credible
source. Russia's leading the world with the number of medals. The United States, I think, is 10th in total, 2 medals.
So do they drug test in this kind of thing?
They do.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because Russia's in the lead right now.
Well, I don't know if they did when they were competing, but I'm pretty sure they do now. At least it says it in the book. So
are they not invited anymore?
I don't know.
I don't know. It might have been some doping scandals.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. But to be fair, I think there's an argument to be made that most athletes, to some degree, if they're not crossing the line, they're towing it. But that's besides the point. So it's run, bike, cross country, ski. The U.S. right now is in 10th.
So you said run, bike, cross country, ski.
All on snow.
All on snow.
Yep. The U.S. right now is, I think, the 10th country out of like maybe 15 that have participated. They have 2 medals in the elite category, right? So 1 gold, 1 bronze. A woman from the U.S. in, I think, 2010, whatever you want to say. She competed and did well. But otherwise, it's a pretty fringe sport that gets overlooked in our country. I think in part because our country is so big and a lot of places just don't get snow. So the cross country skiing aspect gets overlooked.
But I mean, you grew up in upstate New York where there's plenty of snow in the wintertime. So
that's right. So I started doing sports 7th grade, which was the first year of middle school for where I'm from. Cross country was fall, cross country skiing or Nordic skiing was winter.
So that was an actual sport in school.
Yep.
Wow,
so I competed for years and I was okay at it, but I was a better runner than skier. So I went on to like run in college, run post collegiately. But I was always like, man, like I love skiing. I miss skiing. If I could find a sport that combines both, that would be like my sport, man.
Right.
And then it turns out it's real. So
and all you need to do is learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah, and I've been getting better at that.
It's challenging, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 wheels, man.
Well, so when I started, I got a bike for like $100 off of Facebook Marketplace, which is like triathlons, whether it's winter or regular or whatever, they're like insanely expensive bikes. Some cost like 10 grand. I bought mine on Facebook Marketplace. The guy was like, come to my basement. I'm like, this doesn't seem safe.
And bring cash.
Yeah, and bring cash only.
Unmarked bills.
Bring your birth certificate. And I was like, so you know what I mean? Like that's what I was going up against. But I learned how to bike, and then I started training summer of last year. So not this past summer, the summer before, on the bike. And just so bad. Like, I have a coach that I work with. He's a guy in Texas, great guy, love him to death. Chris Gunderson, he's the man. And I knew how to write. I knew how to do running and running workouts. Same for skiing because of my background in high school. But
I'm glad you knew how to run.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, like, you walked in here just fine. So,
yeah.
Like,
the biking, though, dude, my tires were flat. Like, not like...
What, during the race?
No. When I started training on the bike, because this is just to framework of how very little I knew. They weren't like dead, like pancake flat, but it needed way more air. I didn't understand gears. I didn't know. I was riding in like 3rd gear the whole time, which is just you're spinning your wheels like crazy. I could barely brake like 12 miles an hour for a bike ride, and then finally I started figuring out, I got to put air in the tires. And, if you go in a higher gear, you'll just naturally go a lot faster. And so now, like, I'm more dialed in with it now. And now, like, the training is really getting dialed in and blocked, which is nice. But yeah, so that was definitely the hurdle. To qualify for the World Championship, I had to go to the National Championship, which I went to this past February. Was in Breckenridge, Colorado, which is so much money. It's so nice and so pretty, but my God, I'm from upstate New York, middle of nowhere, poor town. My one ski pole that I train with is duct tape. Got a bike off of Facebook Marketplace. I'm out of place there, you know. But it's a really beautiful place, though. The mountains. It's 2 miles above sea level. Before I moved to this area in January, I lived in Philly, which is, again, it's flat, and now
at sea level,
and now I live next to a place called National Harbor, so sea level.
At sea level.
So to go up 2 miles above sea level, I mean, I'm gasping for air. There are 2 races. Technically it's Winter Triathlon and Duathlon. Tri is run, bike, ski. Duathlon is run and ski. The Duathlon was Friday. Triathlon was Sunday. So the rule of thumb when you're traveling to compete at altitude, based on what I've read, is you either get out there 30 days before, which isn't realistic,
right,
or you get out the day before. So I tried the day before, and the race on Friday, I didn't finish. I DNF'd. I passed out. I could not handle the altitude. And also another thing I did not realize racing that high up, the sun is like right there.
Oh, yeah.
So even though it's 20 degrees and there's snow everywhere, it is hot as man.
Oh, yeah. Because you also have to think the snow is white and it's going to reflect the sun's rays.
Yeah.
So you're easier chance to get sunburnt.
Yep.
In the snow.
Which I did.
Yeah.
I got annihilated. I was overdressed, couldn't breathe, sweating my ass off, and also just hadn't adjusted to altitude.
Right.
So I DNF'd Friday. The race come Saturday, I had off just to like try to fix my mind and fix my body, because honestly, like, not in a full of myself way, but I knew I was fit. And I'm like, no, I know what I'm capable of, right? Like if I'm getting beat by people that are blowing me out of the water, or if I'm like, I never will drop out of a race unless it's like dire also. Like I will literally make myself crawl across the line. I passed out. So I just couldn't handle the altitude. But I just might, like, I was annoyed at myself because I'm like, I know if this were at sea level, this would be a totally different ballgame right now, just physically, right? So I'm like, okay, Sunday's coming around, like, stop your whining. My calf was ripped apart, like I could barely put weight on it, so I taped that up. And I'm like, all right, it's just, all you got to do is get top 3 in your race for the triathlon. Just, if you get top 3, you're fine. So I went out, I was leading the run leg, that's my strong suit. Got on the bike, made a wrong turn on the course, and then the guy in second went by me. Fine, I'm like, whatever, like at least I'm not passing out.
You're in third place.
I'm in second place.
Oh, you're in second place now.
I never caught back up to him. Biking is my weakest link, but also I made the wrong turn and I was being very cautious because I'm like, I am not, if you throw yourself into the red, like if you spike your heart rate at that level of altitude and you're not used to it, your heart rate isn't coming down. So I'm like, just keep it as close as you can, but whatever. Biked 5K, finished that, got on the skis, never caught up to him, but kept my gap from third place and finished in second. And so now I don't know if the guy who beat me is going, but I'm really, really passionate about growing this sport and representing us in the way that I think the country should be represented. And so I'm going to be, hopefully, if everything goes through okay, I'll be racing in the elite division. And I'll probably also do some other races like in my age group, but I'm really excited. Like if I could medal, that would be really awesome for the country, even if people don't care about the sport, because again, we've only had one person medal in the elite division, and it was a female. We've never had a male medal, and I think it's about time. And honestly, there are athletes that are much better than me in this country, and so if I can be that catalyst to get people more aware of it and involved and interested, that's perfect. Great. I mean, I still want to go to the World Champs, but if 10 years down the line I'm not going because super crazy high caliber athletes are doing it, fine, cool, whatever.
So let's take a step back real quick. I used to do triathlons, just the regular triathlons, because I also grew up by the sea, and I know the distances. I know there's sprints, Olympics, half Ironmans, and Ironman distance triathlons. Are there different distances for the winter triathlons? And then what, like you said, it was run, bike, ski. How far do you have to go each time, like for each leg of the race?
So I'll just speak solely on national championships because there are, even though it's a fringe sport, there is like a race series. There are a couple of races across the country that happen, but all are different distances. And then the world championships, I'm not sure what the distances and the race criteria will be because it hasn't been announced yet. For nationals, last year, and I think it's the same for 2025, so coming up in a few months, 2 categories. They call it intermediate and sprint. And intermediate is longer, sprint is a little shorter. Both are national championships. What I liken it to is if you're a track athlete, you might run the mile or you might run the 5K. Both are great. One is not better than the other, right? You could run a fast 5K, doesn't mean you're going to run a fast mile, and vice versa. It's kind of what it's like. So for the intermediate, for the duathlon, if I remember correctly, it was run 6K, ski 12K.
Okay.
When I passed out, I had finished the run and I was 6K into the ski.
Halfway, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I was close, but it was just... And then for the tri, it's run 6K, bike 10K, ski 10K, I think. And then the sprints are basically half of that. So I originally was going to be in the intermediate races, but I passed out in the duathlon in the intermediate, and I was like, okay, like what's the most important thing right now is to finish and qualify for Worlds. I don't think, based on the altitude, like I don't think I'll be able to I don't think my body can handle it. So I moved down to the sprint for triathlon. So then it was run 3K, bike 5K, ski 5K, which like that's still a lot of distance. Like I'm doing 14K worth of work. Like that's, what is that? Like 8, it's like 8-ish miles.
Right.
Yeah. So those are the different categories. And again, like that's just, so I think for the World Championships, I will be in the elite sprint race, but I could be wrong because I don't know. This is my first, I've never traveled overseas. Let alone competed overseas. So it's going to be a very big learning experience for me.
Right on. So run, bike, ski, fall on snow. What do you wear? Like, footwear wise when you're running, like, do you have to use snowshoes?
No, well, I mean, I guess you could. I wear trail shoes. I really like a shoe called the Endorphin Edge. That is my favorite shoe because I made my first U.S. team in it. It is a trail shoe. It has a, it's called Carbitex. It's sort of like a carbon fiber shoe, but with trail running. So it just puts you on your toes a little bit quicker. It's faster. The foam is designed for racing, so it's more responsive. It has good grip. I love that shoe. Unfortunately, it's going away, but it's my favorite shoe, so that's what I'm going to keep racing in until mine are tethered and done.
Right on.
Biking, I just keep the shoes on. And then skiing, I wore them because I thought that'd be funny. It's my Mad Shoes Nordic boots. So if you don't know cross-country skiing, the boots you wear strap into the ski. I do a type of skiing called skate skiing. It's faster. It looks a little bit more like ice skating as compared to probably what you've seen with cross-country skiing where it's like sort of like a shuffle.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's faster. So this is what I'll wear with the skiing. And what I found that helps is if you actually lock the boots into the skis before the race starts, instead of like
to get
coming
a quicker transition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That works pretty well. But yeah, man. So it's, like I'm really, like I have two driving forces in my life. It's been running and comedy, and I have a whole other tons of stories and a whole other side career in comedy, and then athletics like running and Nordic skiing, and like that's another driving thing that I've always been passionate about. And right now, like I don't run, but I operate like a small team called Renordic, just like this podcast weirdly was a thing I started during the pandemic with my high school coach as a way for like to keep community and keep it going.
Right.
And now like some of it were runners and some of it were skiers. And now actually a couple of those members are going to go out to the national championships in February.
Right on.
And I'm not maybe like lightly coaching, just trying to like give them like, hey, this is what's worked for me, and really help give them like logistic advice for racing at that both like level merit wise, but also level like altitude wise. And they're awesome group. I'm really excited for them. And I think a lot of them will hopefully qualify because if nothing else, the nice thing about Winter Triathlon is you can also qualify for your age group. So I'm driven to make the sport more successful in our country. I think that the way to do that is to compete at the highest level, at the elite level. Mm-hmm. But there have been people representing the country in their age groups, which is still awesome, right? Like
very admirable nonetheless.
Very admirable, right. It's an awesome experience. It's cool to put on the US uniform. They're doing great. And I think if nothing else, the group's name is Renordic, like Run Nordic combined, and both of them. That was fun and cheeky. I think they're going to go and do well and hopefully make worlds at least for their age group. So I'm pumped for them. And then like if I just want to help keep growing the sport and maybe like start like coaching people for it eventually if it becomes big enough. And it's fun. It's like I compare it to maybe I'm off on this, but I try to look at it sort of like ultra running in like the 80s and 90s where it was kind of fringe and not super well known. And albeit athletes that succeeded during that time still succeeded, all the props to them, not taking that away from them. But their winning times are shattered compared to winning times today. And it's so popular and there's so much brand involvement and so much money behind it and so much prestige behind some of these races like Western States 100. Back then it was kind of like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
And so I know that this won't be that same trajectory because, again, if you grow up and you live in Florida or, Texas, very unlikely you're going to get involved with this sport. But if you're in New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Minnesota, Northern California, Washington, Oregon, like there's so much opportunity here in this sport for athletes that want to compete on a more elite level in a sport, and even just people that want a community that, like, it's a fun vibe right now. It's a fun, everybody that's there is not there because they don't want to be, like they're there because they're excited about it. And that's really infectious energy to be around.
And it's a growing and it's an emerging sport too. So we're getting more and more participation within the States. And
yeah, I'd say so. So last year, to my knowledge, was the first year of like a race series. So they did a race in New York, Minnesota, Michigan. Obviously the national championships in Colorado. There's a race that goes on in Alaska that is it was the national championship for a lot of years, and to my understanding is like a staple of that community. And so like obviously like these are really hard to all travel to just because they're isolated events, and it's, even if it is like a race schedule, that's, the average person can't travel like that.
yeah, right.
But hopefully, as long as we keep having snow in the country, we'll keep the sport will grow and there'll be more and more races emerge. I definitely would love to put on a race like this one day, but right now I live in Virginia, so it's no bueno.
Well, and I read the Farmer's Almanac says we're not supposed to get any snow this year, unfortunately.
For Virginia or just in general?
Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks, but I can accept that because we're in Virginia. Dude,
Exactly.
this summer, I like the cold. I like the snow. This summer murdered me here. It was awful. Is that how summers usually are here?
Yeah, yeah. So Virginia doesn't just have, fall, winter, spring, summer, the traditional 4 seasons. I mean, Virginia has like 20 seasons. We're going in, we're in summer, and then we have like the false fall, and then it's, Hell's Front Porch.
Right.
After that, the
Super
summer,
summer, yeah.
like, if you will. So yeah, I mean, like, the weather can be kind of deceiving sometimes here in the state, but once you've lived here for long enough, you'll get used to it. You won't think anything of it. So,
Yeah, man.
yeah. But like, so, all on snow with the Winter Triathlon, you're running in this endorphin edge. You got your bike, right? And
Yeah.
so you got your bike for $100. I can't imagine the tires are that great, but like, do you have to use, maybe, are you using a mountain bike for this? Are you using like tires, like specific snow tires with like more knobs on them, or?
Oh, that's an awesome question.
yeah.
So for my daily training, I'm riding on a mountain bike, and it's pretty heavy, which I did that one, it was cheap, but 2, I did it on purpose because it just helps simulate that resistance that you're going to feel on snow.
Right.
At the national championships, I actually rented a fat tire bike, which is typically what most people will ride on.
Okay.
But at Worlds, and they just announced it last week, so now I know where I'm going, which we can talk about. But Worlds, typically the more elite-esque athletes will ride on a mountain bike with, I'm guessing, like decent
Snow tires.
snow, something.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out like if I'm going to be able to rent something or if I need to fly because some people will fly their bikes out, but my bike is not the type of bike that you
would want
break down
it's
and
gonna
fly.
cost more money to ship it than the
Yeah.
bike actually costs.
Yeah, so I need to figure out what I'm doing with a bike, and like I just for reference, because I'm being sincere, like I am very bare bones with equipment. Like I do not like the skis that I raced on at the national championship. I've had them for 15 years. I raced on them when I was 14. I mean, they're fine, but they're not like they were decent racing skis when I was 14. Now it's like they're not even
technology
close.
is developed. Yeah, you know.
It's not even close. And then also like just through having them, like, yeah, that it's dug up in places which will slow you down, right? So I have a pro deal with a Nordic brand. I don't know if I should say the name because I'm not going to say the name just in case. I don't want to jeopardize my own personal job. But they're super generous, and I got a pair of like top end racing skis, and I invested in it. But I wouldn't have been able to afford it if they didn't give me that deal. So I'm super excited and grateful for that.
So I want to know where you're going for the national champion or for the world championships.
Yeah.
I want to know where you're going for that. But then I have more questions about the skis.
Okay, dude, let's talk about the skis. And then we can
let's talk about the skis.
Anything to keep it off me sounding cool. That's what I want to do.
You know, well, so, you know, I grew up surfing, and I know that, like, you know, before you go out surfing, you got to wax your board, and there's all different types of wax. You got to have a base coat, and then, like, based on there, like, you have, you know, warm water wax. If you're, you know, surfing in the summer, you have cold water wax. If you're surfing in the winter, do you have to wax your skis? Because I see people doing that at the Olympics, and like, are there like, you know, is there, you know, specific wax that you would have to use for this, like to make you go faster? And
yeah, dude, 1000%. Wax gets expensive.
Well, yeah.
So just like with your surfboard, there are warm weather waxes and cold weather waxes, and basically, to my understanding, the main difference is if it's colder, the weather is going to be more abrasive, so the wax is harder, meaning it just sticks to the skis longer. So basically, they do make like non-wax skis. I don't use those. Those are for like, you know, your mom or your dad's going up to the mountains and they just are renting a pair of skis from the lodge. They're not looking to go fast or perform. They're just having fun being out in the woods. Right. But if you're trying to compete or train seriously on skis, you'll have a pair of wax skis. And so waxing is really interesting, and it's also in a really fun place. Like, because when I was in middle school and high school, over 10 years ago now, there were things called fluoro waxes. Horrible for the environment. Like, really bad, really toxic to breathe in, which makes me laugh because I can't tell you how many nights I've spent in a wax room just breathing those fumes in, just getting high on the fluoros.
Surfing, we had sex wax, so I don't know what's worse.
What is...
It's called sex wax.
Why? Just why?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know.
That either feels like they named it that to grab people's attention. Like, can we use this in the bedroom? They're putting it all over their body, and they're like, this doesn't. It hurts. They're like,
to be completely honest with you, especially in the summertime, like, because I mean, you know, warm water wax, just like warm snow wax is a softer, you know, wax. I have a very hairy chest, you know, when I'm laying down on the surfboard.
Do you use the sex wax on your chest?
No, it comes off and it gets stuck in my chest hair. And it's not comfortable to get out.
God, I'm aroused right now. I know.
Me too. Now I'm just rubbing my nips. But yeah. Quick aside there, you know.
What the were we even talking about?
We're talking about your fluoro wax and breathing in the fumes.
Oh yeah.
And,
like a few years ago, I guess they were like, okay, no more. That's all banned now. Okay. So now it's non-fluoro wax. Again, maybe somebody more in the know can disagree with me, but my understanding of it is it's still really good and it's catching up. But it initially wasn't as fast as fluoro wax is.
Is it a specific compound that is outlawed? Like it's bad for the environment?
There is, but I don't know the name. They refer to it as like fluoro or non-fluoro. Okay. So I'm not sure what the actual material is.
Probably something that's bad for the ozone.
I don't think it's fluoride, but I don't know.
They put that in our. The dentist tries to put it on my teeth. You know, and I'm like, no, thank you.
So, my understanding is it's catching up right now to how good fluoride wax was. Fluoro wax was, not fluoride wax. F***ing me up. But you, at the same time, it prompts you to be a little bit more creative of how you're waxing and mixing the waxes. And because basically when you're waxing your skis to race, you'll put a base layer or two on. Like you put the wax on, you melt it into the ski, let it cool, scrape it off, brush it off, right?
Because you want it to be smooth as possible.
Yeah, so basically what you're doing is you're hydrating the ski so it can grip the snow better.
Nice.
But at the same time, right, like when you're waxing a ski, you're essentially putting that wax into thousands and thousands, and let's even say millions of tiny little micro pores on the ski.
Okay.
But everything you're scraping and brushing away is just excess. So it's like you can scrape and brush as much as you want. You'll never hit those micro pores unless you're really like you're taking, like you're breaking your skis and ripping up the base. You won't scrape the micro pores away, but you will get any excess off, which would slow you down. So once you do that and get a good base layer on, then you can use like more high performing, expensive wax. Like I forget the name of it. I could try to pull up a picture, but I have just a thing of wax that's like designed for racing. It's $100 like a block. It's a dude. But so, and then there are other things like when I was in high school, there was a type of wax powder you would just like powder on and then roto brush in. Like you would took a brush, put it into a drill and
Right.
That stuff was like $150 for a tiny little case. But again, it was called Sarah F. I don't think it's like legal anymore. Like you'll get
that flora or whatever.
You'll get disqualified or something will happen if they find it on your skis.
What do they have, like a swab or something like they do at the airport?
I don't know, because again, this is my first.
A bomb?
This is my first time competing kind of at this level with them. They might not check at all. Maybe it's just like a honor system thing.
Totally.
I don't know, but I care about the environment, and also it's almost impossible to buy floral wax unless you found it like on sale because they're trying to get rid of it.
Totally.
So it's kind of not even an option anymore. It'd be like buying a shoe that's been discontinued for 10 years. It's like,
I got you.
Good luck.
Yeah. So last question I have about skis. If you say like you had a ding in your ski, if you did a good enough job waxing, I mean, like obviously a ding in your ski is going to slow you down. If you did a good enough job waxing, could you, sort of, wax over that imperfection and
No, but it's not going to ruin your, like, a lot of it is just like you and your output and how, like, if you go, oh, I'm going to race poorly now because I have a ding in my ski. Okay, good luck. Like you're going to have a rough athletic.
Mindset.
Yeah, because literally ding ski, you could hit a stick that's on the trail and it just is what it is. At the same time, like you can wax and get that ding as saturated as possible and scrape it and do all the things you would do anyways. But it's more about, are your skis waxed properly and what are you doing as the person wearing the skis? Like, it's kind of like carbon fiber plated shoes. Like, yes, they help, right? It helps to have a faster shoe on that's shown to actually improve your running economy. But is that going to make a 3:30 marathon runner a 2:20 marathon runner? No, only they can do that. So
it's not the size of the boat; it's how you use it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where that is, where it's like it helped. Like now, I will say, as where I am in the belief of like, you can run a really fast marathon if you're in a daily trainer or a racing shoe. The racing shoe will help, but it won't be a detriment. If you have the wrong wax on your skis, you genuinely might be f***ed.
Right on.
Especially if you're classic skiing, right? Classic skiing I don't do as much. It's mainly skate skiing, but classic is that shuffle ski, right?
Right. Okay.
And you have a thing called a kick zone. So basically, like from let's say your ski goes out to here, right? From here to here, it's just going to be waxed, brushed. But from here to like here, like under your foot, what you call your kick zone, that you're going to use really sticky wax to give you grip, so you're not just kicking out and slipping out from under yourself the whole time. And if you, let's say it's like a really warm day, and it's getting towards the end of winter, shit's getting warm, the snow is melting, but there's enough you can go out and ski. If you used a material called clister, which clister is like really hard, grippy stuff that you would probably want to use if it was really cold.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You're using that in like 0 to below.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 below, whatever. You get the point. If you use that on like a 35-degree day, it's off. It's going to be awful. It's going to be an awful experience. You're going to feel like you can't even move, and that'll genuinely fuck you up if you're trying to race on that.
Nice. Yeah.
And that's kind of interesting because, I am of the belief, whether it's shoes or whatever it is, like it's more the person. But in that case, it's like, no, the equipment matters, and it matters what type of wax you have on. Your technique genuinely matters. Again, with running, right? Like I am of the belief of, you can improve your form a little bit, but ultimately, like your body's going to do what it does, especially if you're running longer, and eventually things are going to get tired and start to break down. So you got to just try to get through your body's natural cycle as most as you can. But at the end of the day, it's, are you fit, and what's in your heart, right?
Right.
With skiing, it's like if your wax is wrong, even if you're tough in your heart, whatever, you could still maybe do okay, but overall you're gonna have a rough go.
Yeah, for sure. I can only imagine. It's just like in surfing, like the cold, like the warm water wax is really soft, and if you're using that in cold water, it's
comes off on your chest.
Yeah, it's gonna come off on your chest. You're gonna slip off. But so the World Championships are coming up in 2025, a couple months from now.
Woo!
Where are you going?
I'm gonna pronounce the name wrong, so sorry. It's in Italy. I think it's pronounced Pragalato. Would you know the name? It's like a
Italia.
Yeah, it's like a mountain town. My wife said it's basically Breckenridge with pasta, which I thought was funny. I don't know much. It was there last year as well, the World Championships. So I know there is some U.S. athletes, like I was saying, in the age groups that will have an experience there, and I want to talk to them about it. I just haven't yet. But yeah, excited, nervous. I got to re-up my passport, so got to get that done.
It's always a fun time.
And it is at altitude, but not as high as where Nationals was for the U.S. I could be wrong on the number, but I believe it's about 6,000 feet.
Okay,
above
that's
sea
not
level.
too bad.
You're gonna feel it. It'd be like racing in Denver, basically.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it'll be fun, man. Let's just see.
Are you excited for the food or anything? Are you excited for anything else other than going to the World Championships?
No, because I'm trying to treat.
What are you gonna do in Italy?
Nothing.
What?
I'm just gonna treat it as a work trip. I'm going there to race and represent the country, and then I'm coming home.
Nah, man.
Yes, man.
Nah, you got to go get some olive oil, some focaccia bread. You got to go get some pasta.
All right.
You got to do it up.
You
It's
make me a
Italia,
list.
Yeah,
because like looking at the town, and again, I could be wrong because it looks like a ski resort. They had the 2006 Winter Olympic Championship there, but it doesn't look like there's too much. It looks like a mountain town. Like I think there's like a cafe, but other than that,
if you're over in Europe, it's all about the tiny little mom and pop places.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
And as far as I can tell, it's like you fly into Milan, and then it's like a 2.5 hour bus ride into where I'll be. So it's not even like I have an opportunity.
So are you like the northeast?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Part of Italy?
I got to figure it out.
Nice.
Again, it's only been out for a week, and I've just trying to get my ducks in a row to get ready. But
Sure.
it'll be, So what I think will happen is like I get there. Hopefully, there's some sort of like athlete bus or whatever it is to then take you to the resort where I assume we'll all be staying. And yeah, I mean, there are some really good athletes. There's one athlete from I don't want to say the wrong country. His name is Hans, and
It's probably German.
it's not German. I think I want to say Norwegian, but I could be wrong. But he shows up a lot.
Scandinavians. Ugh. They're so good at skiing. They win all the skiing medals at the Olympics. Those Scandinavian countries are the best.
He's there every year, and he's always at least top 3. So I don't know who will go, but yeah, I'm excited. Let's do my best. We'll see what happens.
I mean, that's all you can do is just do your best.
Training's been going all right. I had a good week, so that that always motivates you.
You're training for the Winter Triathlon events. You know that you're going to be at elevation, and it is 70 degrees here at sea level.
This sucks. Yeah.
How are you getting ready?
So I am of the mindset of like you can only control what you can control. I have a really awesome coach who constantly is talking me off the ledge though when I'm panicking. I'm more used to training with running, and the past year and a half has been an adjustment of like, hey, your running mileage is a lot lower than have been comfortable with since I started taking it seriously. But you're throwing in bike sessions, you're throwing in ski sessions. I'll do at least 1 or 2 running workouts a week, try to get a long run in, try to do an easy run, do a bike ride. It is tricky with my day job. I travel a lot, and biking and running I can do from my home.
Right.
I do a thing called roller ski to get ready for cross-country skiing. It's essentially like cross-country skiing. It's the closest you can get without actually doing it. It works all the muscles, but it is dangerous. There are no brakes. Stopping is very difficult. Like, I've been doing it since I was a teenager, so I know how to do it. But if you're doing like these long, crazy, steep descents that we kind of have around here with sharp turns, like you could legitimately die or get seriously hurt.
Right.
So you have to really know where you're going. It's not good to be on road. So I do it on a trail called the WO&D that isn't flat, but it's not.
There's some
forgiveness to it. And if I'm coming, there's a lot of intersections I have to cross, but it's not like I'm coming from a steep descent.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'll try. Like I did 10 miles yesterday on those on the WO&D, and it was good, man. It felt smooth. But yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting some. I love, even though it's my weakest link. I love going for long bike rides now. It's really fun, and so I'm hoping to do like a 30 or 40 miler soon, just to be out there and enjoy it.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, the WO&D is, if memory suits me correctly, from start to finish, it's like 45 miles in length.
No, that's long, yeah.
Completely, pedestrian only the entire way, but that's a 90-mile bike ride you can do.
Yeah,
from your house.
Don't need to do that, but yeah, that's.
Why not? Oh my God!
Yeah, but it's nice. It's really, really nice. Then always looking for people to run with. Like sometimes I'll go down to Fredericksburg. There's a fun group that I like running on trails. Bulls Run I just discovered. Those are
Bull Run.
Bull Run, sorry. Yes. Bull Run is a trail series. It's pretty technical, but that's pretty nice. I like running out there. Also, when you're healthy, I want to run with you, man. I just like running with people, especially like if we can go out on the trail and just be out there long and like run, walk, even like that's just the most fun. So.
Yeah, definitely. So like these courses, for the World Championships, I know you probably don't know much about, that, but for the national championships, like you're at elevation in Breckenridge, Colorado, like, was there much undulation to the bike course, or was it mostly like a hill climb, like how did that look like?
Everything felt harder, so probably a little bit skewed gauge with the elevation. But yeah, I would say, because again, you're in Breckenridge, you're in the heart of the mountains.
Yeah.
Nothing's flat.
Oh yeah.
So like when you started running, you went up a little bit, then you had like a pretty nice descent, and then you would go like do a little loop, and basically that nice descent, you went back up, but you were up more on like it was sort of like a slanted hill, right? Okay. So when you're running down, you get a long gradual. Running up it, it's shorter, but it's way more steep. At least that was how I interpreted it. And again, like with your heart rate, you gotta be careful because that's.
Right.
And biking was the same thing, like it's just very steep. Same with the skiing. The skiing wasn't that bad, but and then World Championship last year, just with like many places in the world, they didn't have snow, so they had to make it. So from what I heard, the run and the bike was on gravel, and then the ski was on man-made snow. I hope they'll have snow when I'm there, but that's up to Mother Nature.
Does that create much of a difference? Fake snow versus real snow?
My inclination is to say yes, but I haven't been doing the sport long enough and haven't had too many trial and errors to say one way or the other. Snow is harder to run on because it can be slippery. You're uneven footing. You're collapsing in sometimes. As where if it's not snow, it's going to be dirt or gravel or trail, and like it's just a more firm footing to get onto.
We live here at sea level. I feel like you would have the perfect place to train for your runs. Do you go for runs on the beach? Would that be similar to running on snow?
Yeah, it actually might be. I probably should. Yeah, I probably should do more runs on the beach. Yeah. Are there beaches nearby here?
Yeah, I mean, you can find some for sure. Yeah.
Well,
definitely out near Annapolis. There's beaches in Annapolis.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Chesapeake Bay area.
Yeah, all over the Chesapeake Bay area.
I'll have to do that. Yeah.
Down where I'm from, in
Virginia
Hampton,
Beach,
Virginia Beach area.
Yeah. Maybe next time I'm out there, I'll have to like plan a long run or something.
Yeah, go for a run on the beach.
Let's end on this note. I don't think this is something I ever told you. In 2018, I was second in the nation at the Beach Half Marathon Championships, the USA Beach Half Marathon Championships.
What?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Yeah, I know. It was in Florida, and I was living there at the time, and my now wife and I, we drove like an hour and a half out to Cocoa Beach, and I did the race. And
all on the beach?
All on the beach. It was an out and back. It was miserable. Yeah. It wasn't, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Well, I'm excited for you. I can't wait till you get back from Italy and you tell us all about, all about your experiences there and how it was. And I especially want you to try out some food there.
Thanks.
Because I mean, you do have a solid cup of coffee in front of you right now, unlike the last time where you had basically a cup of milk.
Yeah.
I mean, you did come over and you left a lot of stains in our toilet. My wife, she was upset. Wow. But, it's okay.
That's what friends are for.
Now you can leave toilets in an Italian toilet. Leave stains in an Italian toilet. But you get more than one ply of toilet paper, so there is something to look forward to.
You get 2 ply, and they might have bidets, which I've never tried, and I'm excited to try.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bidets.
Well, no, man. I mean, I'm excited to get back and hear your theory on why the Menendez brothers are misunderstood, and hear you elaborate more about your love for Jeffrey Dahmer, like you were telling me earlier. Yeah. And yeah, man. On that note. Love you, man. Also, the cowboy hat, dude. I'm sorry we didn't address it. That's fun.
Yeah, Cowboy Ken here in the studio live.
Yeah.
I call him my boss. He always corrects me, and he's like, I'm your coworker. But we were at a conference last year in Austin, Texas.
He was wearing the hat.
And he got a little intoxicated the first night, and he bought all of us in our sales group cowboy hats.
Nice.
And here we are.
Well, now because I thought it was for your love of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy, but you know what?
Man. I'm a Virginian through and through. I gotta support.
The state is the issue you took with what I just said.
I gotta support Virginia.
I gotta support Virginia serial killers.
Yeah, I gotta support Virginian serial killers. Gotta support Virginian things. Which may soon be the Virginian capitals. Who knows? I don't know. That might change soon enough. But yeah.
All right. On that note,
go Caps.
Do you want to? All right. We'll end it there. So you can follow the Laugh and Run podcast at Laugh Run Podcast. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Ken, what's your Instagram, buddy?
KRock13.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
At least you kind of know.
My nickname's K-Rock, and I graduated college in 2013. So
perfect.
Boom.
You can follow me, Tommy McClellan 95, and then I will be headlining the Glove Theater December 14th in upstate New York. Tickets are selling pretty well, but still probably a few left at this point, right? This is coming out probably middle of November. So, yeah, hope to see you there. It's going to be fun. All right. All the love. No, I hope you didn't mind the serial killer bits. I thought that was funny. Oh, yeah? You loved it? All right, cool.
10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Montakia.